بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
I've had this cameras turned on because I have a curious question. I mean, do you have a brain? Do you think?
Yes, I do.
Is it a woman's brain?
Yeah.
I'm not being derogatory here. I know I'm going to get flagged for this, but I'm actually thinking of a beautiful combination that women, especially beautiful women like yourself, if you could have the brain of a man.
I don't want a brain like you.
You may not want it. Of course you don't, because you don't understand the advantages of it.
I don't even know. I don't want to know the advantages.
No, but once you have it, you would see a different world. Right now, you're seeing it from your perspective, and I know it's a horrible thing from where you are. To have a man's brain, it's horrible. It's horrid. But when you become a man, wow,
I don't want to be as evil as you are, so no.
You think I'm evil.
For me, you are a man, and I don't want that.
Actually, from your perspective, I am evil. But when you get this brain, you'll realize it's not evil. It's the right way.
Now
imagine hot, gorgeous, beautiful, and a brain that works. Imagine the combination.
The brain still works, and which is why I'm here sitting in front of the camera.
Beyond fundamental bodily functions,
the brain still works.
Yes, it does, and may God give you health and life and an active brain. But brain has to do more than just control bodily functions and breathing and
That's
eating.
not the topic of discussion. I think we should come down to the topic before you and I actually get into an argument, and I also throw away all the mics and walk out.
This is not an Indian TV show.
Right.
Right. What is the topic of discussion? I don't know.
Okay.
The strange and bizarre news we
I
thought
think
yesterday?
yes.
Okay, this is really.
It was very bizarre.
This is really bizarre.
And especially, let's start off with the victim.
The rape victim?
Yeah.
And the title is bizarre.
Yeah.
It says bizarre. Female judge blames a rape victim. A female judge in Arizona has actually blamed the woman in Arizona. Blamed the woman for going into into a bar at an odd hour, and people are really complaining that, excuse me.
And so she was raped.
And so she was raped.
Just because she went to a bar at an odd time.
Yeah.
So what
it's the same discussion that we have in other parts of the world.
No, then my argument would be, so if a girl who gets raped walking on the street during daytime, should she stop going out at that time also?
You see, it's a discussion we hear from all over the world, that the woman is responsible for what comes to her. So because you were dressed scantily,
does not give you the right.
I fully agree with you. But you know, if you had a man's brain, you would think it's perfectly all right. And the problem is that this female judge is thinking like a man.
Which is surprising.
Which is surprising. Typically, men assume that, oh man, she's dressed hot, she's not, she's showing some skin. That basically makes her fair game, which is unfortunate because that's not true, and that's what the hue and cry is about. That a female judge has blamed the rape victim, that she told the victim that she wouldn't have been groped if she didn't go to the bar that night. So if she hadn't gone to the bar that night, she wouldn't have been groped. The thing is, so she should lock herself in the home.
Yeah.
But then how is this different from other cultures and countries where women are sort of locked away because they tempt men?
And in one of those countries, another rape story that I have is rape victim molested during probe in India.
That's India, right?
India.
Yeah, that is so bad. Where a victim goes to the police and gets further molested there.
Yes.
Have you seen Bandit Queen? Devi's story?
Yeah.
That's what made
That's
her.
what exactly.
That's what happened. And that's not just India or Pakistan or Bangladesh or these countries.
It does happen.
It happens everywhere. In Egypt during the revolution, women were being fondled and groped and molested.
And I think we just covered that in the previous episode also.
So, no, by the police during investigations and during body searches.
So why would people then trust the police?
Unfortunate.
If they also become one of the rapists.
It also happens in the US. There are videos on YouTube where female, people who've been detained or arrested are being molested or just messed around with. Not necessarily molested, but being messed around with.
And then they're told,
pictures are being taken.
if you say something, then I'm going to get you in deep.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Did you just say the S word?
Yes, I did. Beep.
Beep. Why are we sitting here doing this when it's beautiful weather out there and raining? Now, mind you, grey and rainy is beautiful here, but for a lot of the world, grey and rainy is like, ugh. We long for it.
We love rain.
We love rain. Send us more rain. Have you ever had Viagra?
No. What sort of question is that? No, I haven't had Viagra.
It's a question. There's no sort.
No, I haven't.
Every question is a question, and you can say yes, no, or none of your business.
No.
They saved a baby's life by giving.
That was very interesting. Could you read that out?
Yeah, a little infant who was born premature and was detected with complex heart defects had to be fed a spoonful of Viagra with every meal just to keep her alive, because Viagra opens your veins up, your arteries up, and the blood circulation. And the blood circulates. That's how Viagra works. So in case of this baby, the blood kept flowing through the body. And
who knew this could be a cure?
Everything has. I was reading that there's no good, there's no bad. It's all a balance. The yin yang of life, the balances of life, and wherever there's good, there's bad. So everything, and I mean everything, in life has a good and a bad side. So Viagra is a cure. Viagra is an entertainment drug. Viagra can save a baby's life. It's just how you use things and how you apply them. So this is an interesting one as well. How depressed can you get, Ayesha? The women can get really kind of... what's the...
You know that, don't you?
No, we do. Imagine you had a functional brain, a man's brain.
I still have a very functional brain, okay? I don't need a man's brain.
I've already established that. Beyond fundamental bodily functions.
I don't agree with this whole philosophy of yours. Anyway.
What philosophy?
Depression.
What philosophy?
Our brain is not functional.
Did I say it's not functional?
You just did in the beginning.
Okay. Beyond fundamentals of life.
Right. Anyway. Going down. Depression.
Well, this lady in Bangkok got so depressed she threw herself into a cage of crocodiles. Would you do that?
No.
Especially for a man.
I would never commit this. No, please. Never.
What was that?
Never. Never for a man.
For?
You guys are not
for a woman?
No, I'm sorry. No, I will not just do. I will never commit suicide. Please. No.
Well, this lady did in Bangkok.
Yeah, you know why I'll say that? Because you've been given a life, you have a purpose. If something goes wrong, doesn't mean that you end your life right there and there. You always, like you just said, every bad has a good side, and every good has a bad side.
Okay, but Ayesha, the important thing is there are times when you can't control your depression. There are times when you have no control over how you're feeling. You just...
It's a disease, right?
It is a disease, but for a lot of people, it's just a way of life.
I would still never do
that.
I would never go in that direction.
A lot of women, it's a way of life.
I know a lot of men. I know a lot of men who commit suicide by just cutting the wrist because they're after a girl who rejected them. So yeah, it's not just us. At least we have a logical reason of being depressed.
They do not commit suicide. They're little wussies who do this just to make it look. Because if they really want to do it, they need to know they have to have a deep enough cut.
That's true.
They have to draw blood.
But you guys do it.
You guys? I don't think so. Some men who have women's brains do it.
That is not the point. Anyways, when we were talking about sexual frustration and just frustration within us, man feeds lover's body to pet dogs.
Oh, that is so gross, because he was having this affair.
Brazil, yeah.
He's a
football player.
Yeah. How sick is that?
He was also going to be selected in the national team for Brazil, but
she got pregnant.
She was a model. Yeah, she got pregnant with his baby, and he was already married to someone else.
Yeah.
And just as a punishment that she was pregnant with his baby, he first,
cut her up, man.
Cut her up, yeah.
And fed her to the dogs. Yeah. Literally fed her to the dogs.
Physical abuse, mental abuse, and then eventually cut her down. And apparently the wife was involved. There were other 7 people who were involved in this entire incident.
Why don't you just break up and pay some money or do something. Why? What kind of mind would make you do that?
Because probably I think he was thinking that if this female is alive and if I leave her, then she will go around telling what sort of relationship they shared or what all happened. And considering he was a footballer, he must have thought it might have affected his career, and so he thought, let's just end her life because he has a right to do so.
I'd like to comment on this slightly. It's a cultural thing. A lot of cultures, a lot of our viewers are going to get upset about this. Just make such a big deal out of things. I'm not saying this is correct. It's a bad thing.
Yeah.
What he did was wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about the affair. His affair was wrong. The pregnancy was wrong. But the society was a bit more accepting. When I say accepting, don't accept that, it's okay. It's not okay. But accept the mistake.
Yeah.
Accept the crime.
Yeah.
Not the crime. Accept the mistake. Accept what he's done. Then say, you know what, you did wrong. You did bad. Okay, let's go on. Some societies just pull you down
They're ready
so
to
much.
pull you down, yeah.
And as a result, to protect yourself, you do stupidities like that. Now, France, the last president was living with the girlfriend and eventually married her. This president has a scandal about his girlfriend, and now he's living with the girlfriend. And it's perfectly all right for the French.
It is so interesting to raise a point. Last night I was watching Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
And a doctor who had committed an issue
Yeah.
5 years back, and he did not say it then that, I've left some towel inside a patient. And when he was caught 5 years later, he said, I was too scared because if I had said it then, you would have fired me. So I found it better not to say it. Only if you do not have such issues for me, when I know that my career is going to end if I commit to my problem or the sin that I've committed.
Own up to it, yeah.
Yeah. So I will end up in a problem. And he said it to the law. He said, I wish you guys had, a bit of leniency. I agree it was an issue, it was a problem or a sin that I had committed. But then you should, let me talk it out. So I wouldn't be scared.
He didn't do it deliberately. It's a mistake. Now you can penalize him. You can penalize him. You can punish him, but you can't just finish him.
Out of fear, he couldn't say it.
And this happens in a lot of cultures. A lot of countries in the world, they hide their mistakes.
Yeah.
And and another beautiful thing or a pathetic thing that happens is once you hide your mistake, you keep on making more and more mistakes.
Yeah.
One lie, you need 100 lies.
Yeah.
So one mistake, if you would come out, own up to it, repent for it, tell God that I'm sorry, tell people that I'm sorry, tell society I'm sorry, and the society says, all right, as long as you've owned up to your mistake, you'll be penalized, you'll be punished.
But we appreciate.
But then it's all right.
Yeah.
But then it's all right. Get back to
human
business.
error.
Get back to business. So we don't do that, and that's when this happens. So now I'm sorry, I'm lingering on this. I'd like to extend this further. Children. A lot of parents, when a child makes a mistake, they just hammer the child down so much that either the child doesn't talk about it,
Yeah.
or B, gets completely depressed.
Right.
And that guilt also makes the child feel, I'm not good enough. And from the very beginning, one mistake can just mess the child's life up forever. And this is one thing which one of those things which we all need to learn and understand. We have to stop.
We close doors.
I make a mistake, reprimand me, argue with me, but then also pick me up.
Yeah.
When we don't do that, we destroy people's spirit.
I agree.
And at times they come back and do something ridiculous. A similar story happened in Pakistan, Karachi, when the woman cooked the lover up.
Yeah.
Her husband.
Right.
Because she just wanted to get rid of him, and she couldn't. And they said, "Oh, she's mentally ill." I don't think she was mentally ill.
Apparently, he was threatening the daughter to get raped.
Something of that sort, yeah.
He told the wife that I will rape the daughter in front of you.
And the society was just not, wouldn't be accepting it, wouldn't support her.
So she did what she thought was the right thing to do.
Let me just cut him up and cook him.
Yeah.
So it's things like that which we have to be careful about.
Yeah.
When we talk about children, we're talking about verbal abuse, emotional abuse. This in Florida, this babysitter just put a kid, a 4-year-old, in a cockroach-filled cabinet for hours. Would not let the child go to the bathroom as well. What psychopathic attitude is that? Why would you torture a child, torment a child? And if you can't deal with children, why are you a babysitter?
I think this issue has been covered in a lot of movies and a lot of shows and a lot of drama series. If you watch them, babysitters need to be qualified. A.
Yeah.
B. There has to be a proper agencies, right? And you have to have a proper check before you actually call that person in. It's calling a complete stranger and giving a child's possession just because the parents want to enjoy time out. That's okay. That's all right.
Or maybe on living. So let's be fair. Maybe on living. It's not just. It's not a party.
But then that person, I don't know. You see, that's the issue. We don't own up. If we find an issue, we'll do whatever we feel is right, and this is like extreme torture. That person has no right to be the babysitter in first place. I think she should be seriously penalized. And I don't know what's the torturing kid thing. It's not just babysitters, it's also often parents or teachers. We've seen a lot of incidents in India and Pakistan and Bangladesh and Sri Lanka where kids are tortured in school. Because they've not studied their lesson properly, or because the teacher had asked them to perform a certain task and they didn't do it. This torture thing has become so common. We're so frustrated. We take out one anger on the other person in the form of torture.
In my earliest exposure to erotic literature, when I was very young, I came across this, I don't know what it was, I just remember very vaguely, it's been so long ago. It was some Victorian erotica from the Victorian times. And this whole thing about schools punishing children. And I remember there was this flogging block where young girls or young boys would be bent over, knickers pulled down, and caned, and the whole school would sit and watch, and there was this whole knickers pulled down. There's a sexual connotation to all this. A lot of people are just sadistic, and they get this erotic pleasure from this, which is unfortunate. I'm sorry, I'm taking it there. It's a fact. In all cultures. It's not just anger, hatred, or a psychopathic nature. There is this this power rush. There is this sadomasochism. There is sadism involved in this. There is just that pathetic eroticity. Now, if you're doing it between two consenting adults, that's your personal problem. But when you involve children and you force them and you brutalize them, and you beat them, and you hurt them mentally, emotionally, physically, there is something very, very wrong with that.
And also those kids who go through this entire process of torture, when they grow up, because of how they were dealt with in the childhood, they would do the same to other people. So it's not just, it doesn't stop there. It's an ongoing cycle.
And it's been happening forever.
It's an ongoing cycle.
I completely agree with you. And the society needs to revisit this. Again, sexual kinks for mature adults who know what they're doing, that's their personal problem. I'm not endorsing or condemning. That's your personal, not even a problem, that's your personal choice. Who am I to question that? But when you involve unwilling people, when you involve people who have no interest, or children who are not mature enough or sensible enough to decide for themselves, and when you involve them, there's something very, very wrong with that, and I find that very disturbing.
Another incident in Bangkok where a girl's hair gets entangled in an escalator and she ends up in coma. Basically, the mother had dropped her at a mall. She had to take some music class, and while she was climbing an escalator, she bent down to see something on the ground floor, and eventually she didn't realize that her hair got entangled in the escalator.
Very dangerous.
We don't, after reading this particular news, we really don't realize. We feel that, oh my God, technology, it's made things so easy. We don't see the bad side of it. We don't consider the safety aspect of it anymore. I've seen a lot of elevators cases, where they just fall down, or they're not being maintained, or we're not aware of, how to basically keep ourselves safe.
The other day I was at a store, and these children, a group of complete brats, and they kept pushing the call button of the elevator, and the elevator would just come and go, and it's like a 3-story thing, and a transparent. I could see, and I was like, what are you doing? And I told the child, don't do it. And then they would, and they got encouraged, so they went in, they'd call the elevator, jump in, press the floor button, get out, and eventually I heard some screaming. This went on for like 15 minutes. The parents were completely oblivious, just walking about, left their brats to this destruction, and I was getting so irritated. And I did stop them once, and then I heard them scream, and the parents running around. And turned out one kid who had taken a little ride up to the next floor got caught in the door. Parents need to be careful.
Very careful.
And you can't let your children be brats. Now, this particular kid, unfortunate, she was just complete accident. But these things are,
It's important to share because I think we don't realize the safety aspect of it by utilizing all these
and that is the reason why we
elevators,
bring
and
this.
stuff
It's
like
not
that.
because the parent was bad, the child was being bad, but it's just an accident, and we have to be very. I have actually had. I think my shoe got stuck on an escalator once.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah, I broke, and that was the time I was like, oh, because I was about to trip.
Yeah.
And if
I
I
think
tripped, my
got,
clothes would have also gotten entangled, or probably my hair also got entangled in it.
My lace got stuck, and it got out then. Oh, another thing. That's just slightly funny. I dropped my boarding card on Bangkok airport as I was coming out of security, got on the escalator, and my boarding card was in my hand, just dropped, and got caught, and and by the time I grabbed and pulled it, I tore half of it.
Yeah.
But then I realized that when I stuck my hand there to grab it, unconsciously, I could have hurt myself.
Yeah.
And it was just a boarding card. I got another one.
Right.
But yeah, things like this happen, and we unconsciously just stick our hands into different places. So that's that. Anything else?
Just the last one. I think the first news that you had shared about the judge, the girl was responsible. Another case in India again, where the Karnataka High Court judge told that a female who had complained against the husband, abusing, physical abuse and mental abuse. The court basically said that he can beat you because he cares for you, because he's your husband, because he has the right to do so. All these things, especially in these countries.
Yeah.
I don't know why this whole thought of mentality exists. And it's surprising how a high court judge could give you this.
Okay, I'm going to take it back to the same thing. There is again eroticity involved here. A lot of, even in the West, Japan, Far East, a lot of women take that beating as sexual submission, and that, I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but that I think is what's happening in the judge's mind. I'm sorry, because otherwise it makes no sense.
I think there's this whole general mentality where a female has to be very submissive to the husband. Because she has to maintain that relationship. She has to take in whatever.
In some cultures, yes.
Yeah.
But even that submission is giving a man a certain kind of a high.
Right.
Man, if there's a couple and a woman needs to submit and keep her eyes down. Well, why is that happening? Because it's obviously giving him some sort of happiness.
Yeah.
And what is that happiness? What is that joy? You know what I'm going at?
I'm at a higher level than you.
But what is that? That's really giving him this sexual high.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this, and that's what's keeping the dynamics of the relationship.
Yeah.
That's what's making it fun in their little life. And a lot of women, captives. I don't know it's a syndrome, what you call, where a captive becomes used to being captive, and they start enjoying it after a while. Little girls who get kidnapped eventually stay in that relationship because they sort of
enjoy it. Yeah.
I don't know, enjoy is the word, but they get sort of
used to it.
I will not use any word for the risk of offending anyone, but something happens and they just sort of get caught in that situation. So a lot of cultures, women have been brought up with that purpose, and they get caught in that situation. Asian women are very submissive.
Very submissive because they're considered as the family binders. I agree.
And not just Asian, India, Pakistan, Asian,
No.
Far East, Oriental,
also,
Chinese women, Japanese women. They're very, very submissive. Well, not all Japanese now. Things are changing in Japan, but old family value. They're very submissive.
It's the same,
And there is a sexual connotation to this. But again, I would repeat: if it's happening between two mature adults, consenting adults, that's their choice.
As long as it does not affect the kids.
And as long as it's not being forced upon someone. If that woman is unwilling, if she's going to court, then I'm being beaten up.
She's complained, which means she does not agree with it anymore.
If she's being beaten up, if she goes to the court, the court can't say it's okay, your man's protecting you or taking care of you or loves you, so he can beat you up. I don't think that works.
No-no.
Can I beat you up?
No.
Okay, thank God.
You've already done that, I guess.
I have done no such thing.
You've slapped me right in front of the camera.
You know,
have you forgotten that?
No, there was a purpose. Thank you for reminding. It's been a while, but there was a purpose. It was. It's
whatever. They don't really care about the purpose. You slapped me in front of the camera, and that does mean that you have beaten me up. The reason does not matter.
Can I strangle you?
Let's enjoy the weather.
Let's enjoy the weather. Well, if you want to contact us, our email address, Twitter address is on the screen. You can be in touch with us if there are any topics we need to discuss. Please feel free to let us know.
Also, feedback. If you want to be part of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Not just in the studio, but we can take you over the telephone, on Skype, in any of the technological way.
We'll have that figured out.
We have that figured out. So let us know wherever you are, and please send us your feedback, your comments. We'd love to hear from you. Till next time.